Other things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. We have stuffed animals. Now, every time we were getting in the car, I did ask my mom if we were going to the Hallmark so that I could buy a new one. Yes, you can buy one for like $3 at Target, but I think what really upset my parents was about how many of these I wanted and how much space they took up. And of course, you can't give them away or throw them away. Why would I abandon my children like that? Yes, they do have feelings. We have TVs. Now, for whatever reason, I decided that this was the single determining factor of how wealthy you were, how big your TV was. There was a direct correlation. One of my friends had a little TV on his remote control, and I was like, wow, is your dad Steve Jobs? Because that is fancy. Finally, we have McDonald's Happy Meals. Yes, they're only like $3 or $4, and yes, my dad acted like he needed to take out a second mortgage every time I wanted these because I saw a commercial on Nickelodeon that I could get a Sonic the Hedgehog toy, and I need it now, and I will cry until it happens. These are things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 2. First up, we have my pet hamster Fuzzy. Now, we got him at the PetSmart, and I'm assuming after the cage and everything, it was probably $50, which is like half a shift at the Applebee's, but I had to beg and beg for months to get a hamster. It's a rat that's gonna die in 2 years. You feed it once a day. Next up, we have Waller. Now, I pretty much thought we had the literal Mona Lisa hanging above our couch in the living room. Little did I know that everybody has the same 3 mass-printed canvases from the Home Goods for $20. I'd go to the playground and be like, yeah, I pretty much live in the Louvre, don't worry about it. And finally, we have electricity. Now, it was drilled into me like Cadet Kelly that as soon as I was done charging something, the wall charger came unplugged. I think I pay $20 for electricity now, and that's with 2 fish tanks running full time. Things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 3. So we have trading cards, and that feeling you get when you open one of these and you find a holographic card that all your friends want, that rush is like undescribable. So my parents like portioned that accordingly so I didn't get a gambling addiction. But I just assumed then that these were like $10. They're maybe like $2.99, which is a lot for paper, but you know. So we have bed frames. Now, it was a big spectacle and my brother and I got new bed frames, so I just assumed they were extremely expensive. I was like, yeah, I'm Princess on the P. I'm so sensitive. I need a fancy bed frame. Turns out these are like less than $100. Also, the sheer amount of 28-year-old men that still sleep with their mattress on the floor, you just think these are expensive, but they're not. And we have Kool-Aid Burst, which was like liquid gold when you were a kid. It was the most tasty, absolutely delicious juice you could ever have. Probably we only had these on special occasions because it was loaded with sugar, but this 6-pack is only $1, and when I found that out, I felt extremely cheated. Things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 4. So we have crane games, which are only $1 to play, which really isn't that much at all, but I would usually pick the stuffed animal that was like wedged in the farthest corner and decide I had a deep emotional connection with it, and I couldn't leave until I had it. So my parents would usually give me like a set amount of money, which was smart because I probably would have wasted their savings trying to get that poorly sewn stuffed animal. So we have cars, which are expensive, but I thought they were like $100,000, and I don't really know why. Thank God for Kelly Blue Book, because I would have gone to debt over a Toyota Corolla for the rest of my life. My plan as a kid was just like to take my manual razor scooter everywhere. That was going to be my transportation. We have Lunchables. I thought these were like $8 or $10. They're $1.50, but I think my parents just told me that because they're like questionably edible. Like I was really going nuts over this cracker pizza. Really? Also, these say 15 grams of protein. Where? Like, bodybuilders are going to start buying out Lunchables like it's nobody's business with that much protein. These are things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 5. First, we have Go-Gurt. Now, I don't know why, but I thought this was a lot more expensive. Maybe it's because I tried to make my parents buy out the store when meeting Dylan and Cole Sprouse was on the line, but this is only $2.50. Also, why were there so many ways that yogurt was marketed to kids? Like the Danimals drinks and then this, like, bop it, slip it, slurp it. Like, why can't they just eat it with a spoon? So we have spaghetti. Now, I didn't know why my dad got so mad when I wanted spaghetti at the Olive Garden. Turns out they charge $16 for it, and I can get it at the grocery store for 50 cents. But I guess when you're giving free breadsticks away to Midwesterners, you've got to make up the cost somewhere. We have stocks. Now, I really thought you needed like $20,000 to invest in a company. Turns out you only needed a couple bucks, and I'm glad that people are realizing that more and more. But if I knew this as a kid, I would have totally invested a couple dollars into Apple just so I could go around the playground and be like, do you like your iPod? If you have any questions, I'm actually part owner in the company. I can send your request to Steven Jobs immediately. Things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 6. So we have cereal. Now, I really wanted every single box that had a smiling cartoon character on the outside and enough sugar on the inside to give me a fatty liver at the age of 6. So my mom would limit me to 1 box per week, which I think was a smart idea. But I thought they were really expensive. It's only like $2.50 a box. But also, what was Reese Cups doing trying to convince us that Reese Cups in ball form was part of a balanced breakfast? Steak. Now, I really thought this was a luxury only reserved for traveling businessmen and also monarchs. Turns out you can get the Outback Special, including 2 sides for $11.99, and I know that because I did work there. You also shouldn't get it because it tastes like a Frisbee, but you know. Finally, we have lighters. Maybe it's because I watched an aggressive amount of Survivor as a kid, but I just thought the ability to create fire would be like expensive. You know, it's one of the elements. These are like $1 or less, but my parents took this very seriously because I was a very imaginative kid, and I definitely would have burnt the house down thinking I was doing like a magic show or something, and then I could just like put it back together again. The things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 7. challenge. We have movie tickets. Now, I really thought these were like $50 a piece, and I felt an immense amount of guilt when I got too scared at the 2000 claymation film Chicken Run and asked my mom if we could leave. I think we spent like $5 per ticket on those. The real money here is the snack bar, but if you have a big overcoat, you could sneak in a candlelight dinner for two. Those 16-year-olds don't care about the profit margin. So we have wine now. I really thought this was like $200 a bottle minimum. No, you can easily get this for like $5, and after you pass 30, you're gonna have a headache the next day regardless. Also, you never have to worry about what label you bring because nobody's gonna know that you spent $5 unless they're also a cheap ass. Also, I don't know anyone that actually likes drinking this. We all just feel like we have to drink it. Then we have these vats of Hawaiian Punch. This is only $2 in ice cream, and I found that out because I was convinced this was extremely expensive and only for special occasions, and I think my parents convinced me that because there's more sugar in here than Candy Mountain, and my teeth would have fallen out one by one, but still, I don't know what the secret ingredient is on this, but I am hooked. Things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 8. First, we have donuts. I really thought this was like a luxury confection. Turns out it's less than $1 per donut. Also, my parents would always use these to bribe me to go to church with them, and I'd sit in the pew like, wait, if God's omnipresent, doesn't he know I was lured here with the promise of a donut? Because he sounds like a pretty serious guy. I don't want to be on his bad side, and I'd be pretty mad if someone was paid to be at my birthday party. We have this 64 pack of crayons. I thought this was like $20. It's $3. You were a serious artist if you had this in the playground, and I asked for it, but my dad said no. Only a 10 pack of crayons is on the teacher supply list. That's all you're getting. Anastasia had one of these, and now she's a graphic designer for Hot Topic. That could have been me. We have Build-A-Bear. This was top tier stuffed animal. You said a special swamp witch spell to give this stuffed animal life. I thought it was at least $50. It's $10 for their classic bear. I was so disappointed when I found this out, but the clothes are kind of expensive, I'll admit. The things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. Part 9. So we had pasta. My dad would get so mad at me when I wanted to go to the Olive Garden and would get butter noodles. It was like $12. I was like, that's what you have to pay for quality, Dad. It's the Olive Garden. It's fancy. Turns out it's less than $1 for a pack of noodles at the grocery store. No wonder he was upset. That markup is crazy, but they do have to pay for those unlimited breadsticks. We have printers. The fact that I have absolutely no idea how this works and it must be some science magic makes me think it'd be like, what, $500? They're $50. Sometimes it's more expensive to refill the ink than it is for the actual printer, which makes absolutely no sense to me. We have Capri Sun. This was a delicacy my parents would reserve for me when I got through a soccer game and didn't pick dandelions the whole time, so I don't know, I just thought they were like $5 a pouch. It's $2.50 for a pack of 10. My parents were probably just trying to manage my sugar intake, so I had some teeth left at this age, and hey, that worked out, but I do still feel a little lied. Things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. We have brownie mix. This was a special dessert only reserved for birthdays, and my dad would always act like he had to take a second mortgage out whenever I wanted brownies for my birthday. This box was only $2. I could have been having brownies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could put a piece of chicken in the middle, so at least I would have some nutrients, but I'd be like Violet from Willy Wonka if I tried to do this now, so I really missed out. So we have toasters. I thought these were so magical as a kid, like they were so powerful, at least be like $100. This is only $30. I actually don't know how these work or how it's different from an oven, but I love these and I love toast, and I feel like it should be more because there's more technology in this than we used to put a person on the moon, but whatever. Finally, we have Goldfish. This was the elite cheddar cracker. Sorry, Cheez-Its. When I had these in the lunchroom, everybody wanted to be my best friend. This was always my reward when I was good at the grocery store with my mom. I would be like, okay, you were good today. Here's a bag of Goldfish. This is only $1. It cost $1 for me to not cry at the grocery store. Honestly, I need to set my prices a little bit high. Things I thought were expensive as a kid and was shocked to find out they're pretty cheap. So we have toilets. It feels like just 100 years ago or so they were doing the whole outhouse and bucket thing. Ew. And I still don't really understand how modern toilets work, but I feel like they should be really expensive. They're like less than $100, which is wild to me because when this is working, everything's fine, but when it's not working, your life is hell. So we have light bulbs. These are so necessary to life. Like, what did they do before this? Just like light a candle and hope for the best? That sounds really like a hassle, but also a little bit romantic. But whenever these burned out when I was a kid, I was like, oh boy, I guess these are really expensive. I'm probably not going to get birthday presents this year. These are like less than $2. Finally, we have Gushers. This was like the coveted fruit snack. It was like the Beyonce of fruit snacks. When you had these, everybody wanted to be your best friend, and Kyle would be like, oh, I wish I had a Gusher. Like, here, Kyle, you can have one. Then you take the blue one. Like, no, Kyle, you can have the orange one. Beggars cannot be choosy. But literally, it was like a Michelin star cafeteria when they were handing these out. So I just thought they'd be really expensive. But it's like, I don't know, $3 for a variety pack.